How's it going, folks? Mark from Like Minded Lunatics, and I'm here again with Ladi.
Howdy!
And our friend Mike. Mike, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
So Mike's been with several videos so far with us. He's from Divine Canines here in Austin. Tell us real quick, what do you do at Divine Canines?
I'm a volunteer just like a lot of the others. I take my dogs to facilities like schools, hospitals. We do correctional facilities, Fort Hood, all that. But most of my time right now is focused on Barks for Beers. That's our annual fundraiser. We have 30 breweries lined up. For $30, you get to go to all of them between April 29th and May 31st. $30, you get a free beer at all 30. It's a great deal, and it goes to support a fantastic cause. So get out there with your dog, buy some beer, and enjoy Austin.
So it's an amazing fundraiser, and we brought Mike on. We've done several videos with Mike, and in the email that our email conversation, Mike had sent me an email that said, "I watched some of your content, and I'm concerned." Ladi, I was like, "Oh, he's not coming over." He saw it, and he's not coming over. And his next thing was, "You're doing Metallica? You're doing The Who? It's going to be a night, it's going to get messy," is what Mike was saying. And so
out of hand, I believe is what I said.
Out of hand.
It's going to get out of hand easily.
So I didn't realize that you were a huge Metallica fan.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So me too, and we did a whole Ladi's Rockucation on that.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's do another Metallica one.
That sounds good.
And if there is a band that you need to get Rockucated on,
It's Metallica.
It's Metallica. So we did previously. We did that's right. We did Unforgiven and we did God That Failed.
Okay.
So now we're gonna do The Memory Remains from Reload in 1997.
Okay.
Now, Ladi, this is not, for a lot of Metallica fans, this is not one of the favorite albums. It was a time of transition for the band. Jason Newsted, who had been their bassist, was about to leave the band, and it was just kind of a weird time for them. But maybe, Mike, you'll support me on this. I still think there's some interesting music during that time period.
Absolutely, totally agree. It's like there's just so much great music on Load, Reloads, all that, and I think what it is just certain kinds of Metallica fans have this ideal and have broke away from that, but then it's like, there's only like 30,000 bands that would kill to have a couple of the songs off Load and Reload that were fantastic, and so I think when you look at the whole history of the band and the course, I think it's a logical fit in there. I
do too, and this song, because of, and I'm going to be honest, because of Bruce Willis's condition, been reading about that in the news, apparently he's got aphasia, really sad. This song, The Memory Remains, Hetfield wrote it about Sunset Boulevard, and you're familiar with that film.
Oh, God, I love that movie.
Yep, in that film, we have a starlet who's not sure what's happening, and so this song was written about it. Now, interestingly, I'll read the description. This is the lead single from the 7th studio album Reload, released in 97. It was first performed live in a jam session in 96. Marianne Faithfull, I don't know if you're familiar with her, so Hetfield contacted her and brought her in on this because Hetfield described her weathered, smelling the cigarettes on the CD voice would fit the whole eeriness of the Sunset Boulevard feel of this song. And the lyrics tell the story of a faded artist who goes insane from losing her fame. And so the spoken words in the song, "Say yes, at least say hello," during the outro of the song, comes from The Misfits, the last complete movie that Marilyn Monroe starred in. So this whole song is kind of about fame and what fame might do to your mental health. And so reading about Bruce Willis, I was like, oh God, I keep thinking about this song. Poor Bruce. So here we go, folks. It's tradition to have a beer with a Friday Night Reaction video or in a beverage. Ladi's got a Topo Chico. Mike's going with a Vominos from Real Ale.
I am.
And I'm going with a Can You Dig It from our friends at Fourth Tap. Hopefully John's watching this. All right.
By the way, both these breweries are on the circuit this year for Barks for Beers.
They are. Cheers, fellas. All right, here we go. The Memory Remains from 1996. Or say 7, sorry.
Fortune, fame, mirror vein, gone insane, but the memory remains. Heavy rings on fingers wave, another star denies the grave. See the nowhere crowd, crowd of nowhere cheers of honor, like twisted vines that grow. Hide and swallow mansions whole, dim the light of an already faded prima donna.
All right, we'll stop there. What are you thinking so far?
Well, already this doesn't have the harshness of the previous stuff that I've listened to.
No, it's far more
But
melodic.
I like this. I like this a lot.
And so the lyrics are fortune, fame, mirror vein, gone insane, but the memory remains. And then we get heavy rings on fingers wave, another star denies the grave. See the nowhere crowd cry the nowhere tears of honor, like twisted vines that grow, hide and swallow mansions whole, dim the light of an already faded prima donna.
I think the other thing that jumps out to me about this, as we were talking about, this was a transition, not just musically, but their look.
Yes.
I'm not saying these guys are downtown Wall Street, but compared to what this is a really kind of clean cut, kind of stripped down look.
And I love that you mentioned that too, because I think that, so the lyrics talk about someone who is a starlet, a prima donna. And here we have, I mean, look at Lars here. Lars is wearing like some high dollar Gucci shit.
It looks like,
looks like velvet.
Silk or velour or something. Yes.
And so I almost feel like the lines, that the lyrics themselves are a little bit of commentary on what they look like as band members now. Like, are they entering that point of their life where their memory is going to remain? The heavy rings on fingers wave? I mean, Lars is sporting some stuff here.
Pretty sure that Hetfield's not wearing Levi's.
That's right. No, absolutely not.
Jordache?
Yeah,
that's another show, I think.
That's right.
Sorry.
Fortune, fame, mirror vein, down insane. Fortune, fame, mirror vein, down insane. But the memory remains.
So one of the things that occurs to me watching this, and Mike, we have this discussion all the time about high art, like how much do we read into it? You know what I mean? But I feel like the swinging pendulum here,
I love that.
I feel like it's got some type of significance as far as like how you remember stuff. You know, because memories kind of wax and wane. And I'm wondering if that is kind of a literal interpretation of that concept of the memory remains, but how well do we remember it? That memory kind of goes back and forth. I don't know.
Well, what I find, because the thing about it's that old thing where you can never step in the same river twice.
Yes.
So you're on a swing. You're never in the same place twice. So even though your memory, it's not like you're switching between A and B. It's like it's A and now it's B and now it's B plus and now it's C.
It's a gradation.
It always changes. It's always going to incorporate something else.
You know,
or lose something else.
The first image that comes to mind is, I know it has different names, but it's like the big amusement park ride where that thing goes back and forth. That's what it it looks like to me, like the schooner or whatever they call it.
Are you afraid of that?
And then and then and some of them will actually go around.
Yes.
So remember those?
No,
Remember that?
God.
Yeah, they just keep going back and forth in it, and so it'll be interesting to see, like, does this thing stay at the same pace?
That's right. Or does it slow down?
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Heavy rings, old cigarettes, up to lips that time forgets. While the Hollywood sun sets behind your back, and can the family on? Just listen, they play my song. Ash to ash, dust to dust, fade to black.
Oh, I love that. So the visual image of that, they actually go to black screen there. And again, I can't read this without thinking about poor Bruce. I don't know why that weighs on my mind. But
Chris, when Chris got really sick, there was a point where he was on a lot of medication, and just like people watch porn, Chris's porn was food because he couldn't eat, so he watched the Food Network all the time.
Yeah.
And they have this thing where they tell you that if someone is going through a dementia phase, they tell you at some point, talk to them and try and bring them back.
Right.
But I told the nurses, because Chris was in his final year, I said, I'm not doing that. If he's fine where he is, I'm leaving him where he is.
Yeah.
And so we would, the weirdest conversation, because he woke up and he said, how are our cupcakes doing? And I said, our cupcakes? He said, yeah, are we going to beat Emerald? Are we going to beat Bobby Flay? And I said, wow. Is it the triple chocolate ones that we're making? He said, yes, it's the triple chocolate. I said, I think we stand a good chance of winning this because they're not bakers. We're bakers.
We're bakers.
He was like, I think we're going to win. And then he went back to sleep.
But you let him have that.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you? So who knows? Who knows where they are? It's sad for us.
Yes.
And perhaps it's sad for them if they're aware. But if they're not aware, there's no guarantee they're in a bad place.
That's a very good point. And I mean, I think our lyrics here kind of support that too. Up to lips that time forgets while the Hollywood sun sets behind your back. Can't the band play on? Just listen, they play my song. Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, there's something about, ignorance is bliss when 'tis folly to be wise. So that whole concept of that sometimes it's better not to know. We're getting heavy.
I think maybe the other reason it's really striking you about Bruce Willis, and everybody has a different perspective, but it's about he's a man's man. All of his movies, he was a capable, resourceful, total badass. And so even though, you know, what he was like off the set was different, you know, like you never
saw him that way.
Bruce Willis as a weakling or whatever. And so to see, you know, something that has, you know, not only taken his livelihood, but basically who he is. That's
a great point too. And I would like to say it wasn't necessarily that he was a masculine man, it was that he was a cunning man.
Yes.
So like when you think of John McClane wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger. He wasn't Stallone.
No.
He got his ass kicked, but he made it because he was a smart ass and he used his brain.
Yeah.
And as a nerd, that resonated.
Yes.
It's like, I'm not going to be Arnold, but I could be the guy that says, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. I could be that guy. And so, yeah, I think you're right.
Fortune, fame, mirror vein, gone insane. Fortune, fame, mirror vein, gone insane. Dance lyrics got it.
That's what I was going to say. That looks like it just went a full loop-de-loop.
And here's Marianne Faithfull. So apparently Hetfield was insistent that Marianne Faithfull was in this. Yeah. She said in an interview that he called her in Ireland because apparently they had contacted her people had contacted her, and she's like, I don't have any interest in this at all. And Hetfield called her personally. He was like, we really want you in this.
Aww.
And was insistent that this part had to be done by her.
That might have been the highlight of that point in her life, probably,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, well, she said that, you know, she was in Ireland and just, I mean, obviously during this, 60s and mid-70s, she was with Jagger and she had done all of her stuff, very public about drug abuse problems and all that, and she kind of come out of it, and she was in Ireland, and Hetfield was like, no, we have to have you do this part.
Well, I think there's a difference between, you know, being called by your agent and these other people than having the person who's making the music say,
like, please.
No, I need you.
Yes.
Yeah, and then to see her in the video. So she was even hesitant to do the song, and apparently they talked her into being in the video.
Fade away, little tin goddess. Ash to ash, dust to dust, rain to fly. Fortune, fame, mirror vein, gone insane. Fortune, fame, mirror vein, gone insane. But the memory remains. Ash to ash, dust to dust, face to black. The memories remain. Yeah.
And there's something about seeing Marianne Faithfull just stoic, sitting there as everything is swirling around her. And I wonder if like this resonates with people who don't know who she is. You know what I mean?
Probably not.
Because the history of who she is lends this weight that I don't think it would have otherwise.
Yeah.
It's just some lady.
I think you're right. I think the history changes the way we see it. But if you're just coming in this, what it looks is like
a piece of art.
Well, it looks also like someone that's your grandmother's age, who's sitting there in a chair, dressed up with what is she holding? A dog?
That's what I thought. Is it a cat or something?
It looks like a stuffed cat.
And the world is going crazy around her.
You're right. So like there is artistic merit beyond the history.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that we've talked about is, do you need to know the history of something to get artistic?
You just get a different artistic
impression from. Yeah. That's a good point. See, look at what they're doing now. They've got it. He went full. Yeah. So
because that almost sounds lullaby-ish.
Yeah.
It's something your grandmother would sing to a little kid.
Singing you to sleep.
Yeah.
And the other thing that occurs to me is money's falling around her, and she's turning the box like people used to turn from monkeys to dance. I don't know. Mike can back me up on this, though, because you've seen them live. So this moment when you see them live, obviously they don't have Marianne Faithfull to do this. They let the audience do this. And this is one of those moments when you really feel like you're part of, I don't know how to explain it, but you feel like you're really part of something special. The entire audience is in unison.
Yes, absolutely.
And the entire audience is la da 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 la da da da. Entire audience.
Definitely.
350,000 people doing the same thing. It's the same thing when they play Whiskey in a Jar. You can almost not hear Hetfield sing it.
Right.
Because everyone else is singing along with it. As I was going over. The whole entire audience. It's a magical thing.
Okay, what I wonder, do you think there is significance in the rotation was not only the same towards the end of the song, there were a couple of clips where the rotation of that stage reversed.
I did not notice
So
that.
right after the coffin scene, and then it went to her singing, then it came back, and there was maybe one or two revolutions, then it came back again the way it was, and then the last one it was the other way.
So the thing that occurs to me, I don't think Hetfield intended this, but the thing that occurs to me is Cyndi Lauper's Time After Time and the second hand unwinds. The imagery of that has always killed me. Like things are moving forward and then somebody leaves us and the second hand unwinds.
Oh, interesting.
That imagery has always killed me. And so I have no idea because I didn't even notice it, Mike. You noticed something I didn't. I don't know. I'd have to watch that again. I don't know.
I like this though.
It's great
because
right?
it's not by any means a soft music,
No.
but it is not the original Metallica that you showed me either.
No. They have gone through a lot of different phases. And one of the things I love about this, so Ladi and I are producers of a storytelling show here in Austin. One of the things that I love is when we get storytellers that tell a story that really kind of changes tones, and I love the tonal change between what they do. And they're still telling stories. They're still telling musical stories, just in a different tone.
Well, it has to be a different tone. He's older. He's a different person.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you've seen him recently. We saw him in Rockville like 4 months ago. So the entire Rockville Fest, like 4 nights, and all the headliners on the end of the nights are like, everybody get up out of your seats. They're screaming at the audience. Hetfield comes out, so they did 2 nights.
Okay.
And one of the nights they did like a regular show. The other night they did the entire Black Album front to finish. So Hetfield will come out, and he's like, we are so glad y'all are here. I wanted to say thank y'all for coming out, man. I am so happy to see everyone. Hey, take care of each other, okay? I want you to have fun, but if somebody falls, I want you to pick them up. We're going to take care of each other, and we're going to have some fun tonight. You want to have some fun tonight? Let's have fun. And then he starts playing, yeah, ooh, yeah. And it's the weirdest thing. It's like he's Grandpa Het at this point, where it's like, everybody calm down. Y'all good? Everybody get some water. Ooh, yeah. And then, everybody okay?
Right.
Yeah. And so at this point, I feel like in his life, he's like, what, 60, in his late 60s, mid 60s? And he's just, he's the grandpapa of heavy metal.
The one thing also that totally jumps out is, like, is there even a total of 10 seconds where the camera stays on anybody but Hetfield?
No, yeah, they do bounce around a lot.
But I mean, they're so diminished.
Yes.
It's like there's, like, we were talking about Lars. It's like, what's that shirt is he wearing? You know?
Yeah.
But I mean, there's not like Kirk. You know, it's like, what is there even 5 seconds of the camera on him at one time?
Well, hell, Jason is like, he gets like a passing.
I know. Unfortunately, he's constantly going to be the footnote of the band's history, which I don't want to get into that.
Right.
But anyway, it just is.
Yes.
But
he is definitely the face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
well, I just love that they are able to dive into this stuff with their music. They're able to delve into these really cool subjects. And I just figured that you would like this one.
I did. I like this one a lot.
Good.
And we covered a great transition from, in my opinion, one of the best rock bands ever on the planet. You know, we talked about how that whole transition, so this was kind of a pivotal time in their career.
This may be Metallica, but they're no Captain and Tennille.
We'll have to get into that.
They are not. They are not.
We'll have to do Captaining into Tennille Mark.
Okay, so the only thing is, do you have Muskrat Love?
I do.
Okay.
I have no idea what's happening. I have no idea what's happening. Well, folks, let us know in the comments what you think about this one. Did you like Memory Remains? I know a lot of Metallica fans did not like it. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Check out Divine Canines. If you're in the Austin area and you're here in May, please come out and support Barks for Beers. It is a great, great fundraiser.
It's
and
great to
dogs.
be here. Yeah.
They're dogs.
And so if your memory remains, divinecanines.org. That's all you need to know. Go there. All the details are there.
That's it. All right. Well, thanks for being here, Mike.
Thanks for having us.
Ladi, thanks for
Blast.
doing this again.
Great.
All right. Take care of yourself,
Cheers.
folks.
Adios.